So if you're an admin in an apprenticeship program, you're pretty much at the heart of the whole operation. And today we're going to dig into a really vital part of your role, safeguarding. We'll break down exactly what that means for you and how your unique position is absolutely key to keeping every single learner safe.
Let's just start with a big question right here. What is your role when it comes to a learner's safety? Because you're at the hub of all the communication, all the information flying back and forth, it puts you in a unique spot. You've got the ability to notice things that other people might just miss. And this explainer, it's all about giving you the confidence and the clarity to use that position effectively.
Here's our game plan. First up, we'll get to the real core of what safeguarding is all about. Then, we'll take a look at the official framework that shapes all the rules. After that, we'll zero in on your unique role. And, most importantly, we'll wrap up with a simple, clear plan for what to do when you have a concern. All right, let's jump in.
Okay, Section 1, the core idea. Look, before we get into the what you need to do and how you do it, we've got to get a firm grip on the why. Because understanding the fundamental reason behind safeguarding is what makes all the procedures and policies actually mean something. So what are we really talking about when we say safeguarding? Well, it's way more than just reacting to problems. It's about being proactive. It's about promoting the welfare of learners and, crucially, protecting them from harm. It's our collective job to build an environment where people can truly thrive without any fear.
Now, let's just pause on this for a second, because this idea is a total game changer. Vulnerability is not confined to age. It is so easy to think that safeguarding is just about protecting younger people, but this flips that idea on its head. It tells us that anyone, at any age, at any point in their life, can find themselves in a vulnerable spot.
And what does that actually look like? Well, it could be someone who has ongoing mental health challenges or a disability for sure. But, and this is so important, it could also be a learner who's suddenly facing a tough personal situation or is under a kind of pressure they've just never dealt with before. The big takeaway here is that our awareness can't be selective. We have to be observant with everyone because anyone's situation can change in a heartbeat. Okay, Pat leads us right into our second section, the safeguarding framework. Now, I know when we start talking about frameworks and legislation, it can sound a bit intimidating, but don't worry. This is not about to become a law lecture. This is just about connecting the dots between those big national laws and the specific policies you actually use at work every day. Just think of these key UK laws as the backbone for every single safeguarding policy out there. Your organization's rules didn't just appear from nowhere, right? They're direct responses to legal duties, like the ones in the CARE Act that focus on preventing neglect, or the PREVENT duty, which is all about stopping people from being drawn into extremism. This is where it all begins. And here you can see exactly how that connection works. It's a straight line. A law like the CARE Act is passed, that creates a legal duty. Your organization then creates a specific policy for reporting concerns to meet that duty. And that policy then defines your role, to follow that procedure. See? It's a direct, unbroken chain from Parliament right to your desk. Which brings us right to the heart of this entire explainer, your crucial role. We've said it before, and it's worth saying again. As an admin, you are perfectly positioned to be the organization's eyes and ears. I mean, just think about your daily work. You're the one looking at attendance records, so you're going to be the first to see a strange pattern of absences that a tutor might miss. You're handling all sorts of communications and documents that might contain little clues, little signs of distress. It's that 30,000-foot view that makes your position so incredibly important. You are perfectly placed to spot the very first warning signs. Now, this slide is so helpful because it draws a really clear line in the sand between what your role is and what it is not. Your job is to observe things, to notice concerns. It is to record information factually, and it is to refer those concerns to the designated safeguarding lead. But, just as importantly, your job is not to be a detective. It's not to be a counselor, and it's definitely not to make judgments. Understanding these boundaries is so empowering because it lets you act with real confidence without the weight of responsibilities that belong to someone else. So, you've noticed something. Something just feels off. The huge question is, what do you actually do now? Well, our final section, From Concern to Action, gives you a simple, practical guide for your very next steps. It all boils down to this clear, three-step process. First, you observe. You notice changes in things like attendance or how someone's communicating. Second, you document. You write down exactly what you saw or heard, just the facts, no opinions, no guesswork. And third, you refer. You immediately pass that factual info to your designated safeguarding lead. That's it.
Observe, document, refer. That's the process.
But hold on, this brings up a huge question. What about confidentiality? It is so critical to understand this next part. When we're talking about safeguarding, confidentiality does not mean keeping dangerous secrets. If you think there is a risk of harm, you have a professional duty to share that information with the designated safeguarding lead. This isn't gossip, it's a formal process that works on a very strict need-to-know basis, and it's all designed to protect the learner.
And you know, to help you with that first observe step, it's useful to know what you might be looking for. The kinds of concerns you might spot often fall into these broad categories of harm, whether it's something physical, emotional, something happening online, or even related to extremism. Just having this framework in your mind can help you recognize a potential risk when you see one.
So let's bring it all home. Your diligence, your incredible attention to detail, your commitment to following the process, these aren't just admin tasks. They are, quite literally, the building blocks of a safe learning environment. You are a vital, completely irreplaceable link in that chain of support. Never forget that.